Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon. Cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code PHIL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill-up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code PHIL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PHIL.
Hey, and welcome to the Hypothalamic Amenorrhea Podcast, an adulting advice podcast production. I'm Dani Sheriff, and this is the place to come if you care about getting your period regularly. This podcast aims to educate, inform, and keep you motivated on your period and HA recovery track. Let's dive in. And quick disclaimer, guys, I am not a doctor and this content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice. Always seek the advice of your physician. With my dear friend, Nikki Chapman. Now, actually at the time of recording this, we don't know each other at all. But since the podcast has been going for a little while, and I actually recorded this episode with her a couple of months ago now, we've become really good friends. And Nikki is actually an active member inside of the HA Society. So we've just become really good friends through that. And at the time of recording this, I actually thought we were going to be having a recovery story episode where we were going to hear about how Nikki went through recovery. But I had found out quickly that she actually she still had HA. She hadn't recovered yet. And I was excited because I thought, great, so many women are going to be able to connect with her story right now. So look, this episode doesn't have any solutions for you, but it reminds you that you're not alone, that you're on the right track, and to keep going. So please keep listening. And also, before we get started, I wanted to let you know that the HA Society is opening in 2 days' time. If you're listening to this live, it's in 2 days' time from now, October 16th, the new moon. The HA Society will be open. If you want to join me and Nikki on this podcast and all of the other women who have HA and who have recovered inside of that membership, go to thehasociety.com. And also there's going to be a few one-on-one coaching spots available as well with me, where every week we meet and we go through your life right now and your recovery, and we get you on track and we talk about what's hard and we make things easier, and it's all wonderful. So that membership is like $60 a month, which is basically $15 a week for our 1 hour check-in call with me, which is really awesome. And if you just want the membership where you come in and you get to come to the weekly calls, you get to come to the events, you get to be on the message board and chat with all of the other amazing ladies in there, that membership is $6.99 a month. So head to thehasociety.com, get on the wait list. The link will also be in the show notes, and I will email you directly and invite you myself into the group on the 16th, which is a Friday. Okay, guys, that's enough from me. Enjoy the rest of this show. Cool. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Hypothalamic Amenorrhea Podcast, the hardest podcast on the internet to say. I'm here with Nikki Chapman. Welcome.
Well, thanks so much for having me.
You're all good, all good. We have a slight lag, guys, so just bear with us, but I'm going to do my best afterwards to edit it to make it sound nice and smooth. So Nikki is joining us from my homeland. She's down in Canberra in Australia. It's nice to chat to my very own people and hear my accent again and maybe slip a little bit out of my Americanness and back into my Australianness. And Nikki's just going to share with us today her story of HA and all that she's been through. So I'm going to let her take the mic and start where she wants to start and go down whatever rabbit holes she wants to go down. And it's going to be great. So take it away.
Thank you. I'm going to disappoint you first of all because I'm a Kiwi, so I've been in Australia for 10 years, so I've got a bit of a mixed accent. But
as soon as you said the word 10, I heard it. You said 10. Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. The way to tell the difference if you're a foreigner, fun fact, is how the E's are pronounced. So we say sex, you say six.
yeah.
You say 10. That's how I can always tell.
That's it. But I'm living in Canberra now. I've just moved from Queensland this year, down here to the cold. So I'm a student at the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, studying to become a certified holistic health coach at the moment. Yeah, I'm working in an organic health food store, and I don't know, where do I start? I guess I'm in the midst of basically trying to recover from HA at the moment because we're desperate to get pregnant. So I'll go back to where it all started. Hopefully people can relate to how this sort of condition can come about, because I sure know that when I first lost my period, I had no idea why. Last year, I lost my period in September, I think it was, August. So I've had HA for about 11 months now. And it was during a period of my time where I was undergoing a lot of emotional stress, and I sort of dealt with it I've always been into my health and fitness, but I think I just really took it to the extreme, obviously, with using the gym as like a coping mechanism as such. I was definitely not fueling my body for the amount I was doing, and along with the emotional stress as well. Yeah, I lost it then. So basically, I think I was just doing everything that you possibly can do to get HA when I lost it. So getting up in the morning, having like a quick coffee, running down to the gym, doing a huge workout, not eating properly, going to work, working like a long, 8-9 hour day. On my lunch break, I'd be running around, like trying to go for a walk on my lunch break, always moving, just like really severely under eating. I wasn't eating meat, and my iron was super low. I had a really busy social life, and I was going through quite a lot. So basically I cancelled a wedding, which is a long and really weird story because I'm with my fiance still at the moment. But last year I was also planning a wedding. That's what sort of caused a lot of stress, and I ended up cancelling a wedding that I had planned down to every single little detail, like the song going down the aisle, the dress was getting made, my family had flights booked, like everything. And I pulled pin on that, moved house. So there was a lot going on. And I think in normal circumstances, if you are training and maybe under eating a little bit, you'd get away with it. But when you put that much stress on your body emotionally as well, I think that's what people don't sort of understand. It can really, really screw you up because your body's just like, nope, I'm not going to use the reproductive system. That's enough, and shut it off. So that's how it happened for me, I guess.
So what was it that made you cancel the wedding? Was it COVID?
No. This was last year. The wedding was supposed to be in November. So I was living with my fiance then back in Queensland. I was in a job that I didn't like. It was stressful, finance. It wasn't my passion. My passion's always been health. We were just arguing, and he was trying to do his thing to get into the army. It was just putting so much pressure on us planning this wedding that I think I was sort of doing for other people more than what we wanted it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And so we decided to cancel it and actually take a break and basically work on ourselves before we do anything like that, because I think the most important thing when you're marrying somebody is about, you know, your relationship being good, and we both had our own stuff that we needed to work on. So I was planning it, working and everything like that, and then I just thought, no, I can't do this. It's not right. It doesn't feel right, and I cancelled it 3 months out.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. Okay, I so need to dig into this, because some women are like, I think I am resonating with this, and then some other women are like, wow.
What the hell?
So I know. So you basically were under so much stress to prepare for this wedding, not just in planning the wedding, but you had a lot of physical stress going on. You were probably working out for the wedding as well, like trying to be this perfect bride and have this perfect life, and you were in a career you didn't like and everything, and it was eating away at your relationship. So you and your fiance got to a point where you realized something needs to change, and we can't go into this next stage of our life the way we are right now. So how does someone get the courage? Because I want a lot of women to hear this, because what you've done is very courageous. How do people do that? How do people realize that they need to change, and that it's okay to stop, drop, and roll, which is what it sounds like you did? Like, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, it is. And that's the biggest advice I could give anybody. I think what happened for me was I had sort of a realization that, which is ironic because now I'm desperate to get pregnant, but it was like, you work the job, have the wedding, this beautiful, big, expensive wedding, you have the kids, you buy the house, you know, the life that you're supposed to live. And I was like, yeah, that's all going ahead, that the honeymoon's planned, we're going to try and get pregnant straight after, and all the rest of it. But I was like, in my heart, I knew, like, this isn't what I want right now. Like, it's not, this isn't me. Like, I wanted to go and do some solo travel. I knew I wasn't happy in my job. We were arguing, and I was like, this person that I love and I'm supposed to spend the rest of my life with, we need to do some work on ourselves before we go and, you know, into this next chapter of our lives. So it took it was months of me thinking, like, what do we do? What do we do? I just have to do it now. It's all planned. I've paid for it. Like, there's no way I can get out of this. What is my family going to think? You know, like, I had literally spent every night after work planning everything, going out there and getting all the catering. And I was like, I'm going to stuff everybody around. But then I was like, who's this for? It's not for everybody else. It's for me and my partner. And I called it. I just rung the venue in tears, and I just said, I can't do it anymore. And she was so lovely to me, but it was such a, like, it just felt like my heart just shattered. And then I was like, now I have to go and tell everybody that's booked accommodation and flights. And so it was like, it wasn't just like cancelling the venue, it's like calling everybody and just undoing what I've done for the whole, like, months and months and months of planning. But I still had the gut feeling that it was right. And to this day, it was right, because I followed the feeling in my gut. And while it was so scary and so, like, obviously so emotionally stressful that it actually caused me to go down this path, I think you have to listen to your gut at the end of the day, no matter how hard it is, because in the end it all works out for the best. And it has. Yeah, it wasn't a fun time.
Wow. Okay. So I have 2 questions. So the first one is, throughout the process of 11 months of all of this, you lost your period due to the stress of it all. And okay, clarified. And then my second question is, so then you and your fiance literally took like a break where you went your separate ways for a while.
I went overseas and I was going to do some volunteering in Vietnam. I wanted to always go and do some solo travel, and COVID stuffed that up a bit, but I still went overseas. Right. And then I went back home, and then we lived separately in separate houses for a while. And that was what else I was doing. I was trying to break a lease and move out and all the rest of it, and deal with the emotional, like the heartbreak as well. We went separate, and he sorted some of his stuff out. I sorted some of my stuff out. And we're actually back together now. So yeah.
So cool. That's cool.
It's hard because it's like I grieve that wedding, and because I love him so much and I would love to have had that, but also we're so much stronger now and we really needed that. But it's like now we have to deal with me getting myself healthy again. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, that's going to be very inspiring for some people listening who are going through some shit. And it's like, it's such a huge deal in the moment. And yes, you still grieve it, but also it's such a small price to pay to go and sort those things out that you needed to sort out at the same time. So it's definitely a struggle, but that's very cool. So let's talk about your HA then. Where have you been doing? What has been hard? What has been working?
Oh gosh, it is probably, and I don't know if this is bad to say, but it feels like one of the hardest things I've had to go through because, and I think it is when you're wanting to get pregnant so badly, it's so up and down with the mental battle and then like the physical, seeing your body change and letting go of a lot of things. And I'm basically, I think now, like, and this is only in the last sort of month, I'm in a good place with recovery as such, but like this whole year, I didn't really go like all in as such until maybe a couple of months ago, like, and that's like stopping the vegan diet, stopping all of the exercise for yoga and walks and just slowing down. And I guess that's even why I started my Instagram, is to share like a lot of that stuff on it, because it's quite therapeutic for me and I'm hoping it resonates with people, because I had like ripped abs, I was tiny, I was like feeling like strong and healthy, but I wasn't obviously. And I'm still not big at all. I've probably like gained a little bit of weight and I'm not as like toned and my body's just feeling softer, but I'm trying to I'm at that stage now where I'm like appreciating my body for what it's doing, because I know it's getting healthy to be able to make a baby, and that's my main goal right now. So I've just like pulled back on everything, tried to eat like proper meals, stopped the vegan diet, stopped, all of the things, the drinking coffee straight away instead of eating properly, and everything you do.
Yeah, I resonate with that. The coffee one for me, and like waking up and having to break the fast, but you don't really feel like it. You would really rather just drink some coffee. Yeah, I know.
I still love coffee and I still drink it, but it's definitely not how I used to use it, like as a meal replacement or as a, like, that's the first thing,
It's interesting. I would feel as though if someone was ready to get pregnant right now, I've always been of the belief that it would be way easier to recover if I just wanted to get pregnant right now, because your why is so strong and your payoff is so immediate. Whereas when you're trying to recover, just to recover, it's harder for a lot of people because they're mourning that body that they had or have, and they're mourning their exercise routine and they're afraid of like what's on the other side. So where do you fall in that spectrum, do you think?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I so get that, and I so think to myself sometimes, I've got this partner who's saying to me, eat all the food and I don't care if you like doubled your size, like I don't, I love
which
you.
Is not going to happen.
No, exactly. I'm not a big person, and he's like super supportive and I've got a goal in mind. I would think, looking in, or like if I was looking at somebody else, I'd be like, what the hell, that's just so easy, just do it all. But it's like, and it is some days, but then it's not some days. It's like I have this, I think we're all, a lot of people that do fall into this category, like the perfectionist, the type A personalities. And it's like, I don't know, it just sort of, I put so much of my identity in being this fit person. And I also love it. Like I also actually genuinely love like eating super healthy and feeling good and exercising, and it's like, it's just up and down. It feels stupid sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, all right, sit on the couch, just like stop moving, eat heaps of food. You need to get pregnant. You've got a goal. and then I'm good. And then sometimes I'm just like, I don't know. I think it's ingrained in you almost. So
it is ingrained in you. And that's what I think a lot of this conversation is going to be about. So I would imagine that when it's the days it's easier to do all of the things are followed probably the very next day with the day that it's hard. And I have found that because sometimes when we're going through these things, we wake up in the morning and we immediately assess what happened yesterday and try to do damage control on what we did by, by behaving differently today. And it's because that is what we were taught to do. And I love eating well as well. And I love working out, and I mourn intense exercise often. Yeah. It does feel good. You do feel accomplished from it. You do feel like validated that you're a hard worker, which is what us perfectionistic people that's what we're chasing. That feeling gets us high. And when we are told by everyone in our world that feeling like your food is restricted is a good thing, and pushing yourself when you're tired or just like working out consistently is a really good thing, and watching all of the ingredients that we eat is a really, really good thing. It's very, very, very hard to unwire that, because there's some truth to those things as well. We're in this like limbo or this weird space of like, okay, it's true, but I've taken it too far. And like the antidote for this is everything that I have been told is wrong, inherently wrong. So it's total compassion for the very confusing back and forth place that you're in all of the time.
No, thank you. It is. It's funny, and it's like I feel guilty almost, because I'm like, you've got to go, like, stop it. But it's not as easy as that. It's just like a constant. It gets easier and as more like the more that you practice and stuff. But you're so right. It's so ingrained in you, and it's everywhere. You see it everywhere. Yeah.
So have you had any recovery periods at this point, or you're still off? Yeah.
I'm still off. I've started to get acupuncture recently, and because I'm getting like some of the symptoms and stuff off my hormones sort of switching back on, which I've had for the last sort of month or two. Okay. So I'm like hoping that this is just going to push me. I'm hoping that I'm like nearly there. I feel like I'm nearly there. But no recovery period yet.
So what are these symptoms that you're seeing?
So as you probably know, like I analyze everything because that's what you do. But so recently I've been having like a few at nights. I get these hot flushes a lot. Like it's insane. Like I'll go right red. And I've heard that's like a really, like that's sort of your hormones just going all over the show. I've had like a bit of like I've had headaches. I've had like I don't know how much is TMI on this. I don't feel like there is, but you know, like it's not high, like the discharge and that kind of thing. Like I'm really paying attention to that sort of stuff has started to happen recently. Libido, like my sex drive's just on again, and that's like the best part of this, because seriously at the start of this year I had nothing. Like it was horrible. I just didn't feel anything. And that's something that's happened in the last couple of months, which I'm loving. And so, just a few things like that, which I'm thinking are really good signs. So hopefully it's on its way.
Yeah, I wanted you to answer that, because there are other people listening who don't have their period right now who do ask, what to expect. And before I got my first period, I had forgotten about cervical mucus. And then it came back and I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
This annoying thing.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's one of the biggest signs. And the libido coming back, also a huge one. Yeah, it's almost imminent when you start to see those symptoms that it is coming. And for me, I saw mucus for a couple of months before I actually got a period. But it's also important to remember how that depending on how long you've had HA, you might not have the follicles at point. However, you haven't had it for too long compared to many, many people listening who have had it for years and years. But a follicle can take roughly 100 days, right? So you might be seeing symptoms of that happening in your body, and eventually you'll get there, but that kind of explains the delay in the process sometimes. But it feels...
Check out the latest footwear innovation from Adidas, the Adizero Adios Pro 2, which features carbon fiber energy rods that are both lightweight and precisely tuned for a more anatomical transition. Everything from the ultra-light polyester upper to the re-sculpted midsole and the reinvented outsoles are designed for speed. Visit adidas.com to learn more today.
The Lowe's Just for Pros event is going on now through September 24th. Shop Irwin for the trusted tools of the trade. Lowe's and Irwin thank and support tradespeople for the hard work you do every day. Durable and reliable, Irwin's professional-grade hand tools and power tool accessories ensure superior performance. Don't miss the Lowe's Just for Pros event. Shop Irwin tools in-store and at Lowe's.com today. Lowe's, the new home for pros. U.S. only.
Imminent from you, just hearing what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm just sort of like, it's funny as well. Like, it's a topic that you just like, I used to be like, ew, I don't want to talk about that. But I'm like, for God's sake, why weren't we taught this in school? Like, why is it that I'm only finding out how important knowing what your cervical like mucus is actually telling you, that you're ovulating and that you're healthy, and that this like annoying thing that we had like when I did have my period. Oh, it's just it blows my mind, and it really frustrates me actually that it isn't something that's more like.
And how magical it is, right? Because you need that mucus for that baby that you want. And
I know.
It's like, it's just this super thing that can keep sperm alive inside of it for 5 days, because its pH levels are great while your body waits to ovulate. And it's magical. And some people think, because we're not taught about it in school, like you were saying, some people think there's a problem and they go to the doctor, and then the doctor gives them the pill so that they don't get
that old chestnut. That's literally like my life when I first went to the doctor. I just go back on the pill, and I'm like, oh, it frustrates me so much. But you're right. It should be something that's celebrated. I ran out and told my partner like immediately. He's probably like, that's.
I know, you're like, I've got mucus. Do you want to see it? I've totally shown my husband, because I've been like, check this out. Look, like you put it between your fingers and you pull and you see if it goes like, if it stretches like this, that's really good. And he's just like, just go wash your hands.
And that sex drive you've got, like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's funny. So what happened with your doctor then? You went to the doctor and you said, hey, I don't have a period, and he was just like, try the pill?
Twice I went to two different doctors, and they like, look, one of them was a bit better than the other one. The first one was like, oh, it'll come back, but go on the pill to regulate if you want. I'm like, for God's sake, like I went off the pill to prepare my body for this. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic about doctors and just slapping the pill on as a quick fix. But then the second one, he tried to put me back on the pill as well. He did ask a bit about lifestyle. He said, you look a bit, you're very small, you look a bit stressed, let's take some blood tests and come back in a couple of months if it hasn't come. And I'm like, well, thanks. Like, nobody said, none of them said amenorrhea at all. One of them suggested an ultrasound to check for cysts, obviously, for PCOS. And then it was, the third doctor I went to that, told me what it was. And by then I had sort of found, I don't know how, I sort of came across it on the internet and through Instagram and everything anyway. But I didn't have much luck at all with doctors. It really frustrated me that they took it so lightly as well. It was like such a normal thing. It's okay, it'll come back. You're probably just a bit stressed or you work out of it.
Yeah.
You sort of go to doctors for an answer sometimes when, and that's what you get.
Yeah, it definitely, and it makes it harder to get yourself down this path of HA recovery, right? So how did you find out about HA and figure out that this is what was going on for you?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I can't actually remember what it was, but it was definitely Instagram. Instagram and podcasts. I fell into them somehow. And I've connected with a few girls that I like all over the world and stuff that I've seen that they've gone through this and got theirs back and that kind of thing. And through talking to them and then, I don't know, digging into it more. And that's sort of how the third doctor I did go to this year, she did say amenorrhea. And I think that's maybe when I started to look into it. But I don't know, I think I just fell down the rabbits.
I think that's a pretty common thing. Like for me, breadcrumbs, right? You start to hear breadcrumbs and you hear this concept of like, well, actually, did you know that maybe having some body fat is a good thing? And actually, did you know that not having your period is a really bad thing? And this word amenorrhea, and you start to piece together this puzzle, and then next thing you know, you're down the rabbit hole, but you didn't really get there any one particular way.
Yeah, that's so true. You've nailed it. I don't know. Yeah, there's a lot on it when you're looking for it, and there's a lot of amazing women and some amazing information, like the book and like the whole little community on Instagram, which I'm just so grateful for. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So what is the community online helping you do? And what are you finding is tactily helping you to stay on track at the moment?
Yeah, basically seeing like the girls talk about it so real and rawly, and like that I resonate with so much. Every time I read somebody's story or see somebody get their period back and celebrate it, or even get really down about like giving up their lifestyle, changing their lifestyle and getting upset with what they have to do and everything, that all just really makes me feel like it's okay. Like you're not alone in this. There's other women going through this, and also life's so much more important than slowly I'm learning this like this year than what you look like and what you're supposed to do and everything like that. With everything that I've personally gone through, I'm like, I don't know, just really, it's really motivating to see people talk about like supporting one another and stuff like that online and through the podcast stories that I'm listening to, and people like you and people that are just bringing awareness to it. That just gives me like, it feels like it's like a purpose, and that's what's made me study and everything, because I'm like, I just want to help and spread awareness about this, because people just think that their periods are like an annoying thing. I hear it all the time. I heard it at work the other day in quite a new job. Like, I got my period. I thought I wasn't going to get it because it was late. And I was like, and that's the real life compared to when you're, in this little HA bubble online and hearing these women talk about it positively. It's really motivating, because I feel like in the real world, there's not enough about it.
Yeah. It's almost like when you hear someone complaining about their period, you kind of want to slap them.
Yeah.
Like, do you even know how good you have it right now? How dare you take that for granted? And it's kind of a little bit like that. Yeah. Makes sense.
It is actually. She was like, I've got such bad cramp. And I was like, embrace it. She probably thinks I'm absolutely crazy, but I don't care. I'm going to be that person, because I think females really don't value how important it is to have a period and what it actually means,
Absolutely. And that's what's cool about you, getting online, sharing your story, getting on this podcast and talking about it, even though you're not even recovered yet, because it's validating other people's experiences, which, as you were saying, is what is so is so impactful for you right now? Just to hear other people are like, yes, this is happening to me too. Yes, you're on the right track. Come along. It's like you're walking through the woods and you're worried that you're a little bit lost. And then you see a bunch of people who look like you, who are doing the same thing. And they're like, come here. Like, we're lost too, but we're pretty sure it's this way. And you're all going together and you're like, as long as I'm not by myself, it's fine.
Yeah, that's it. It's really, because I mean, you know, your friends and people that you know in your normal life, like they're supportive and stuff, but they don't get it as much. And it's like, you really need that. Well, I don't know. I think most people do need that. Personally, it's been very helpful. So.
Oh, absolutely. And the amount of people, honestly, that I have had both in my personal life and rando strangers on the internet who have been not just impacted, but actually like figured out that this is what was happening to them is wild. So a friend of mine that I happen to know in person, Ashley, and she had HA. And I think you're really going to like this episode. She had HA and she had no idea what it was or why. And like, she thought she had PCOS, and then she went on like hormone replacement therapy, and her doctors, unfortunately for her, it was a lot worse than just being told to go on the pill. She went down this like wild route. And her and I are actually colleagues. And I had started to talk about my HA journey online, like on the internet. And I was like, you know what, everyone, I'm gaining a bunch of weight. This is why. 2 middle fingers in the air. And a part of me telling everybody was because I, you know, quote unquote, didn't want anyone to like think I just let myself go. I wanted them to know this was purposeful. Yeah. And she had just never heard of this before and seen this concept and realized that this could be a path for her. Yeah. And through me posting about that, she shares that like, that's how she figured out that she had this too. Yeah. So she went through the motions and she went all in, and she did it the proper way, right? Yeah. Not the way that the rest of us do it, where we go all in and then we step out for a little bit.
Fuzzy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Recovery, yeah.
She did it because she'd already just been through so much, and she didn't even want to have it. Like, she didn't have children off the table, but she wasn't interested. And she just announced that she was pregnant. So what's cool about that is by just sharing your story this one time for the world to hear, you can make such a massive impact on someone else. And what I was doing for myself, she could do for herself, and it worked for her too. And it worked for someone else, and it worked for someone else and someone else. So you know what you need to do to recover, get this baby happening. Yeah. It's just a matter of being consistent.
That's that consistency, hey? Like, you can't have those slip up days, like not if you've got that. Yeah.
No, you really can't. Like, it's not like when you're dieting really hard and you slip up on your diet and you can just get back on track the next day. Actually, there were many times for me where I had recovered my period and I tried to go back the other way. Yeah. And I tried to diet again and I lost it again. And this happens for me. And just a little bit, right? Oh, this week I might sprinkle in a couple of HIIT workouts. Yeah. And there you go, that 1 week, I swear it went away. Yeah. And so it's that consistency is just important beyond my comprehension. Like, I want to say like, one workout here and there doesn't matter, or one day of like restrictive eating isn't going to hurt anything. But for many of us, I think that it might, especially if you're under mental stress too. So what's your stress situation like right now?
No, that's good actually. And being like open about it with in my new job, and like having my partner support me and people knowing sort of what's going on has been good. I think my stress is the best it's ever been, because I've always been like an anxious person, but now I've made so many lifestyle changes that is something that I'm happy to say is not like impacting me. It's just, and even the exercise, like I'm just doing like the yoga and the slow walks. It's just the eating part, that's the part I find personally the hardest. So I think that's good that the stress is in there, because that's something that eats away at you without you even realizing, especially when your head goes a mile, like 100 miles an hour, like many of us do. But yeah, your friend's story, just back to that, and because I did listen to your podcast as well about like your story with how you got it and you lost it and everything, and how she's, you know, gone all in and actually got the pregnancy, like had announced that she's pregnant now and stuff like that. That's the sort of stuff that just keeps you going. Like, that makes me want to go and like eat another breakfast right now, you know, like it's like, I love it so much. It's exactly what you need when you're feeling like, am I doing the right thing? It's completely opposite.
And you've got those symptoms now too, so you can kind of be like, all right, I've got these symptoms, or like I'm on the right track, just a little bit more, and I can get even further, and I can get even further. And you almost have to take that attitude and that drive that you have to achieve all these other things that you have achieved, take that ability to diet and exercise really, really well, and apply it to doing this. Absolutely.
And definitely. And that's also, I think with acupuncture, I went and booked like a whole month. I'm like, I'm not going to waste my money on something that's not going to help if I'm not doing the other things. So I've like prepaid and pre-booked a whole lot of acupuncture, just like more accountability. I think it's like whatever way works for you. Hey, like it, I'm like, if I'm spending that much money and putting that much into it, I've got to do everything else. Like, because
totally.
Yeah.
And so you said that you've been, oh, what was that?
Sorry, it's just going to take longer if you don't anyway, I think.
It's just going to take longer. Absolutely. And you said that so you shared with your colleagues and you've been open about your story. So did you have any concerns before you told people about what was up and what you were going to do? Did you have any stories in your head or worries about how they were going to react or what people were going to think?
Definitely, because I think if you don't know exactly what HA is and how to get better from it, people just think you're giving up. People think you're letting go. People think it's an excuse just to, I don't know.
No, I'm with you 100%. I know exactly what you're thinking.
But then I'm like, I say it out loud, right? And I'm like, yeah, but that's stupid. You're all up in your own head as well. Like, people really don't care that much about what you look like or what you do, but it's just how it feels, because people are so this, like, you know, eat healthy, work out and stuff like that, and then you're doing you're not doing the complete opposite, but you sort of like slowing down and opposite to what you did. So yeah, definitely, always. But then at the end of the day, the people that are going to support me, or I don't really want those kind of people in my life that are going to judge something that I'm doing for my own health and my own future. Like, it's a good way to cull out people that don't really serve you, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And with sharing it in the end, so you psyched yourself up, you told yourself these things, and then you shared. Did you end up having to cull any of these people out? What was actually the reaction by your friends and family, and were you surprised by it?
Yeah, I was actually, when I first like posted about it and told a few people. Like, there are a few of my friends that still don't really get it. And I think having moved and stuff like that, I'm not around. I've only moved states this year, so I haven't really seen a lot of my friends and stuff recently. But I think for those that are a bit more distant about it and that are a bit more like don't want to talk about that sort of stuff, I guess I don't know, I've sort of found I've got the friends that I want, that are going to stick by me, and then I'm making some friends now, like with people on the internet, which is really a weird concept still, but I'm like, but they get it, and they feel like some of the people I've met through Instagram, I'm like, literally, I feel like they're my best friends, like, and I'm making connections with people that actually are like real people that don't care about that other stuff, that just, you know, I don't know how to explain it. It's still a weird concept to me, but yeah, people that don't really get it or think of it, it's weird. I'm like, I've gotten over that. I just don't care. I think also I lost enough. Having cancelled a wedding, like nothing really like that phases me too much anymore, because whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
So what I'm hearing from you again with like, you knew what you needed and you canceled this wedding. You told your friends this thing and they don't really get it, and you're realizing maybe these aren't the friends for me, and you can find those people, your tribe elsewhere. Sorry, my husband does not care that I'm on this podcast and is drilling in the next room. So sorry everyone. Yeah, you're just super brave, and you're also so like conflicted and confused and scared sometimes from time to time, but you're still sticking to your guns and doing the thing. And that's so strong. And I can tell that that's what makes you this, like, that's why you're making all of these great friends on the internet, because you're obviously such a strong personality with so much to share, and like a lot of feelings and a lot of strength and like direction, and you know what you want, and it's really cool. And of course someone like you isn't going to resonate anymore with those people who are still feeling like, well, you just work out really hard and you just count your calories, and that's life. And you're seeing that there's so much more to it, and there's not a whole lot to them.
Yeah, thank you. That means a lot. And it is a bit like that, I think. And you have the support from the people, your friends, my partner, my new tribe, my new friends, and the old ones that are obviously going to stick by. But it's more important at the end of the day. You're the only one that lives your life. Like, I think it's really, it's sort of making me feel like it's really shallow not to think about that there is a lot more to life than what you look like and what you do and all of that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I don't want that kind of fake stuff in my life anyway.
Exactly. And I could talk about that kind of thing all the time.
Yeah.
And we'll have to do a part 2 when you do recover, and then a part 3 when you do have your baby.
Oh my God. It gives me goosebumps. I can't wait.
I would love to do that. So how about you also add on to your HA vision board to be able to come back to all of the women listening today and say, I did the thing, right?
Yeah.
I've been on this show. This podcast somehow just like, there's so many women that just want to listen to these stories. So there are actually so many women listening to your story right now. It's wild. Yeah. And they are expecting you to come back on and say that it worked.
I got my period. I'm pregnant.
Yes. So you are now accountable to all of us.
Yeah, good. It's even better. I think and that's why I think I like sharing stuff on Instagram, because I'm like, all these little things that I'm doing and everything like that, I want to get on there and be like, do these things, do the things that will come back, like, because you find it so motivating to see other people. And I think this podcast is amazing, by the way. I love that you've actually got something that is like specific for typing in hypothalamic amenorrhea, because
I know. I just need to figure out a way to make sure all of the people who spell it wrong still find it, but I don't know. I think that that's the point. I really want this to be a resource that people find easily, so that they can just hear stories like yours and just listen to them all of the time to stay connected to what they're trying to do. And so speaking of consuming content that keeps them on track, you're saying you have an Instagram. Where can people find you and check that out?
I've called it the Wellness Antidote. So that's my, I've got a personal Instagram, but that's my one that I share all my health coaching stuff on, and a bit about my journey. And I've got like a little section on hormones where I share all the things that I'm doing and everything. So yeah, I've called it the Wellness Antidote, and that's because I like to share like recipes for body and mind, because I think that the two go hand in hand, and so much that, you can't just feed your body. You've got to like really work on the mindset stuff as well. So that's where I share everything, like my little creative outlet.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to link to it in the show notes of today. People should check it out and connect with Nikki over there. And if you're trying to recover as well, then she's probably the perfect buddy for you to have a chat with. So yeah, I can't thank you enough for coming on today and chatting about this and being open and vulnerable about it. And I just loved it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I think what you're doing is amazing, and I can't wait to come on and be like, I got my period back. I'm going to have a party.
I know. You absolutely, you have to message me and tell me so we can.
Oh, yeah. I'll probably write it all over my Instagram too, but I'm saving a nice bottle of champagne for that moment. Can't wait. And then I'll stop because then I need to get pregnant.
Yeah, like one celebration and then. Okay, cool. All right, well, thank you so much. I'll see you later, everybody listening, and have a fantastic day and keep eating the food and chilling out.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dani.
Thank you so much for listening today, guys. Please subscribe to the podcast, and if you could head to iTunes specifically and leave a rating or review, that would help so much because it makes it easier for other people with HA who are Googling around to find the podcast really easily. So if you do that, you're doing a service to all of the women.
Susan, it's so great to finally be able to get together again.
Oh, it sure is. And I really appreciate you picking up the bill.
I'm happy to. I've got the extra cash. Since we've all been driving so much more again, I've been using Get Upside, the free gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon, cash back every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code PHIL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your next fill up. You can cash out anytime to PayPal or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code PHIL for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code PHIL.